Hello everyone, welcome to Unicorn Light Tarot. Sincerely hope everybody is doing amazingly well today. Whether you are brand new and this is the first time you have clicked onto a video, or whether you are returning or a brand new subscriber, welcome one and all. Before we go any further, I have a very exciting announcement. The new podcast, the Unicorn Light podcast, is up and running on Spotify and iTunes. I'm going to link the links down below for you. So if you are interested in just a little bit more wisdom, I feel as though these readings are set up for as much wisdom and as much advice as we can possibly give you through the tarot. But if you are interested in taking that wisdom and that beauty just a little bit further, then that's what this podcast is designed for. So feel free to check them out. Again, Spotify and iTunes. There's an introduction and 3 episodes right now. Really fun episodes, and there'll be a new one out later on this week. So I sincerely hope it's all about making sure that you are supported while you make magic a reality in your everyday. So that is what we're here to do. Each topic is really fun on the 3 episodes, so go check it out down below if you're interested. I would love that. So today we are doing a really fun reading. As always, we are doing which goddess archetype has a message for you. And we have the Maiden archetype, the Mother archetype, and the Crone archetype, all coming from obviously different times of their life and different energies to give you some messages today. So we have 3 piles as always. So what I've done is I've mixed up the piles a little bit, because normally it would go Maiden, Mother, and Crone, right, if we're doing it in chronological order, but we're not going to do that today. These are all interconnected, but you don't know which one is which. I thought that would be much more interesting for a reading for you. So we're just going to go on pile 1 with the Dancer Oracle. We've got pile 2 with our beautiful oracle here from the unicorns, and then we have our Earth Oracle deck for pile 3. So as always, however you choose the energy, the colors, whatever draws you to a pile, that will be your pile, and then we'll find out what corresponding archetype you are a little bit later on. So as always, go ahead and take as much time as you need to. If you need to pause the video, go off and be you. The more aligned you are with your own intuition and your own soul, the more these readings are going to resonate. The time links or time stamps will be down below as always, so you can get right to your readings as soon as you get back. So for all of you who are still here, let's go ahead and move these out of the way. So we're going to start with pile 1. And again, which goddess archetype has a message for you? We have it's a little bit off camera, but we have our magic candle burning for you, and we have our yes you can, because you absolutely can motif in the back here. So if you chose the Dancer Oracle, pile 1, you are the Crone. So we are delivering messages from our beautiful Crone energy here today. So let's get right in and see what messages the Crone energy has for you today. So I'm going to start off with a couple of these, and then we will choose from a few other oracles. And then, of course, we will bring in, we've got the Goddess Tarot with us today. Choose one of these. And why not? Let's bring in some unicorn wisdom too. Absolutely. So you're getting a little bit of energy from all of them, but we are going to be focusing on the Crone energy. I just want to bring that back in for you. Okay, so let's start off with Crone energy. You've got practice daily, and you've got surrender and trust. These are your first cards. Beautiful. And then you've got keep your commitments. And then you've got the mountain. Beautiful. And then you have oneness. 42. Wonderful. Looking for the common humanity. Invoke Lemurian light. gorgeous. And the 42, excuse me. So Crone energy, absolutely wonderful. For the first thing, the message that I'm getting for you, pile one, whoever chose the the dancing oracle deck is, and this may not be for every single one of you, but the first message going right into this is, no matter where you think you are, you're absolutely ready for the next move. You absolutely are. Now, for some of you, you've absolutely got it. You know you've got it. You can feel you're on the verge of it. And this is really in the collective right now. But it just, there feels as though there's a sort of a dense energy maybe outside of your bubble. And you're wondering if this is the right time for anything. Everything is going according to plan, and absolutely it's time to step up. But we can give you some practical advice in this. Take your baby steps and move in the direction that you want, staying aligned with what it is that you want and always working with your higher self. But for those of you who are feeling a little bit lost about just in general, that you're firm about your energy, you know your energy, you're keeping your energy, you know how it's all working out in some ways, but you just don't know how it's going to work out in the external, because when you step sort of foot outside of the bubble a little bit, everything seems so dense and dark, and that's totally fine. There's something brewing in the external, but it's also in a lot of psyches too. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's brewing. It's just sort of culminating. So the way in which you can move through that in a very practical way is maybe working with your intuition, definitely working with your intuition, and definitely working with the universe and your higher self, and making sure that everything that you do as you move forward is aligned. But at the same time, try not to see what each individual thing as you try it on. Try not to see what that looks like, if that makes any sense. You can always put yourself into the energy of how you will feel when you gain what it is that you want to gain. That's totally fine. But we would say at this point, don't focus on the specifics of anything, because that's going to fall away, and timelines are shifting, and you might be moving into a different timeline. So for you, it's as you're moving in with these baby steps and you're clear about what you want to do and you're excited about it. And then when you try on the vision of what it is that you're trying to create, and it's not a firm vision, then you can move outside of it, or get a little miffed about it, or a little bit dark about it, or doubting, is this the right way forward? Just because you can't try it on right now doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to work out absolutely perfectly. You're being asked to stay in the present moment and concentrate just on joy. Concentrate on where you are and who you are in this moment. And of course, make baby steps for your future and move that forward. But when you try and try on what it's going to physically look like when you achieve what it is that you achieve, it might sound a little counterproductive, but it may not sort of solidify in your mind. But again, you can really focus your energy on how you will feel when you achieve what it is that you want. And that leaves it wide open, because what you achieve could be much better than what you think you're going for. But that feeling of arriving and being exactly where you want to be and bringing that into the present moment is actually going to shift your timelines. So don't focus on the small nitty gritty, but at the same time, move forward with the baby steps and get everything done. But don't start looking over your shoulder trying to figure out if you're making the right move. This is really important right now for this reading, for you to really listen to your intuition, because there's lots of different energies that are trying to make everything kind of unstuck right now and trying to sort of pull off the path a little bit. And it's nothing bad or good, or it's nothing it's just a matter of, again, dense energy. And as dense energy, before we move into the light, sometimes the energy can get deeper and darker and a little bit denser, right? And it doesn't have to be about anything in particular, but focus on the light, focus on your moves. But again, not too far down the line. If you've got like 6 or 7 things you want to do, focus on the first thing and just keep it going. Don't try and and skip ahead. Stay in that present moment because that's where your power is. And also keep this as you move forward as your daily practice of staying in that present moment and really working with your energy in that present moment. Because in those present moments, and if you missed the announcement at the beginning, the new podcast that I just came out, we are going to be working with how to transcend and move through different timelines. That's going to be episode 4 coming up. It's going to be uploaded soon. So if you haven't already because you just found out about it, but do check out the podcast. But this is specifically pertaining to you, and it's really important because you're shifting timelines, you're learning how to work with your energy in a very specific way. So it's a little bit different to how you worked before. And it's all about rooting yourself in that present moment and also realizing in that present moment that there are many different ways that things can go. So it's all about how you feel in that present moment and moving through to, again, baby steps, really, really small baby steps. But listen to your intuition. And as you work in this way, it's going to be a little bit different. Now, your ego might step up. There's nothing wrong with the ego. The ego's there to protect you. Unfortunately, it doesn't always do the greatest job because it's just not hardwired for joy. It really isn't. It's hardwired to protect you and keep you safe, which means usually to keep you small and keep you in your comfort zone. So for any of you who are feeling really good, but as you move out and try and implement things into the world, you get a little bit of this, I don't know, I thought I'd be more excited about it. It's just your ego, right? Trying to work through things with you because you're working completely different with your mind. You're channeling differently. You're working with your intuition differently. And your poor ego doesn't know its head from its arse right now, quite frankly. So it's trying to make itself known to you. And, if you're feeling a little bit dark as you move forward, you can just, stay in that present moment, stay in that sort of really, really firm foundation that you have, knowing that in that moment, you can shift timelines in any moment. In that moment, you can shift timelines. You can really bring in what it is that you want in that moment by picturing, again, what it is that you want, the feeling of it. And don't get caught up in the specifics right now because the specifics is where you might be kind of pulling yourself down a little bit because as you're moving forward, you're putting the specifics out there. And then, if your energy isn't matching it, then you're wondering if you're on the right path. And actually you are on the right path. Now, it is great to listen to your intuition. And of course, if something doesn't feel right, don't do it, obviously. But sometimes it's not that you're not on the right path and it's not that you're not taking the right instruction. You're not, and things aren't going to be absolutely wonderful. They are going to be wonderful. Again, it's the ego coming in for you. So that's what's happening with you in a specific way. It's not purposely trying to trip you up, but again, you're working differently and it's trying to show you how important it really is. And what you might want to do is work with your ego a little bit differently. We're taught to sort of drive it out. I even see in spirituality a lot, this idea of driving out the ego or fighting the ego. I'm going to win, this sort of spiritual warfare thing. And, if you want to do that, that's up to you. It just seems a lot of work, though. I mean, you can really work with your ego. It's actually, the side of it's really beautiful. And you can meditate with your ego and you can move it in. It's not just there to keep you small and protect you. There's actually a lot of information, a lot of gorgeousness there. So maybe working with your ego and reintegrating it is going to pull the ego's energy out of what you're doing and trying to protect you because it's sensing, again, that you're doing things differently and it's trying to get in there. But actually, whatever you're doing right now, whatever you are putting your energy in, whatever initially felt right is absolutely right. So if you're getting some doubts, that's probably where that energy is coming from. So keep moving forward with these baby steps. And again, trust yourself and also really reach out to your ego. And if you start reaching out to your ego and you start integrating the energy a little bit differently and you start feeling really excited about what you're doing again, then it's definitely the ego, right? And also understand that there is the dense energy coming in from the external, absolutely, which is another reason to stay in the present moment because you can really shift things in the present moment, not just for yourself, but for the collective. But there is a denseness in the collective going on. I've seen a lot of videos recently about like things coming to a head and it's going to get worse. All this rubbish. I don't know. I mean, I'm not. Whatever you want to believe, it's up to you, but I don't. I'm sure everything's going to be just fine. So let's move right into this. So you've got the Eight of Swords here with your daily practice, and you've got the Ten of Staves, which is wonderful here with keep your commitments. And you've got a lot of, you've got some sword energy. So yeah, there's a little bit of doubt coming in for you, and you're wondering where it came from because you were so up with everything. And for some of you, you're getting a little bit nervous because you've had your ups and your downs. So you were up and now you're a little bit down. You're like, oh my goodness, is this a good thing? Or should I take notice of it? But again, it's going to be totally fine. And it's not really that. In the past, it might have been like old stuff coming up again. We always say on this channel, don't go down the rabbit hole. It's not much for you to do, but it's not really old stuff coming up for you. It's learning to trust yourself. And it's almost like, just a little bit of real talk here, pile one, self-fulfilling prophecy. There is still a part of you that is, for some of you, still waiting for the shoe to drop, right? And that's the part of you that's left a little bit open, that the ego can creep in and go, oh, we know what we're doing. Are you sure? I mean, we're out on a limb here. We've never done this before. So there might be an aspect of self that's kind of talking you down a little bit when you don't need to be talked down. And some of that might even be telling you that old stuff is coming up. Now, we're always going to be sort of researching and moving and growing. And so I'm not going to tell you that you've done every work that you've ever been able to do and nothing will, ever come up for you for review again. You completely healed from everything, but you've done enough healing. You're totally fine. None of that is really coming up. It's not that energy, really. It's just the ego sneaking in because, there's just a little bit of you and you're working to, it's not even repairing that. You've been working on that. That's part of your bloodline too, waiting for the shoe to drop. And, we could easily say that, you've had this from your past lives and you've had this from growing up in society, but particularly in your DNA about success. There's been a little bit of a fear of success. And for some of you, it's about like not feeling as though you can get it, you deserve it. And for some of you, you're afraid of the responsibility when you do get it, but you can. And all of this is really not you. All of this was just encoded into your DNA. And we could easily say that's coming up for you again, but it really isn't. What's really happening for you is this is the first time in your life, really, pile one, that you've gotten to this level, that you've really You've pulled out a lot of crap, you've dealt with it, you've transmuted it, and you're actually at that point where you're working in a completely different way outside of your outside of your bloodline, outside of what was encoded in your DNA, and it is absolutely brand new for you. And there is a part of you that's a little bit terrifying. It's a little bit terrified, right? Just a little part of you, and that is a completely natural path. Completely natural path, completely natural part of you, right? And all it's trying to do is it's leaving it open for the ego to come in. And of course, the ego is trying to get you back to something that's a little bit more familiar. Well, let's protect ourselves a little bit, just in case it doesn't come off, or just in case you have mediocre results. Because you know what? That's happened before. Sure, it happened before. That's fine. It doesn't mean it's going to happen now. Everything you do could be an absolute complete success. And it's going to be much more of a complete success if you don't constantly keep looking over it, making sure that it's working properly, or everything's in order, or this, that, and the other, giving, proper space for alignment to come in and enjoy what you're doing as you do it. The more enjoyment you have, the more energy, joy you bring to whatever it is that you're doing, more likely it's going to take off, right? So this is just accepting that you are in a brand new timeline. You're in a brand new stage. You've never been here before. So you already know that the old stuff isn't working, because if it's that old doubt is creeping in, then obviously it's not working. It's just making you feel a little bit miserable. And when you get a little bit darker, then your energy matches the denseness of the collective, or some of the collective right now. And we keep saying, we're nearly there, and all this like fighting stuff and all this crazy stuff that's going on. And again, it doesn't matter. Everybody has their own version of events. Let their version of events play out with them. It doesn't have to be your version of it. So as you get a little bit sort of denser, then your energy just naturally harkens into and brings in the sort of that darker collective that's going on right now. But remember, you've already transmuted that energy, and that energy, that darker energy, is totally fine to be out there, right? It's just a little bit fearful. It's got to be there so we can see it, so we can transmute it. That's just the way it works. But before, you were a little bit elevated beyond it, so it didn't affect you as much. So you just want to watch that energy a little bit and make sure that you're as you if your energy is a little bit denser, watch what you watch too, because it'll be much more easier to click on a video or click on that news and click on whatever. It doesn't matter what side people think they're on, it's still the same fearful energy, right? And that's probably not the energy that you need, especially when you're in those darker moments. And these darker moments are just before the light comes in. None of it's a really big deal. Again, it's not coming in from past stuff. You've already transmuted it. In fact, it's a reason to celebrate. This is the first time you've been here. This is a brand new beginning. You've never been here before. So of course, again, the ego is trying to make it, familiar for you. But you can speak to the ego, bring in the energy of the ego, give it a new job. You don't need that anymore. And transmute that energy. Stay in that joy, in that absolute moment that you have in each moment, and make that an absolute practice every day. Shift your timeline in every day. And again, watch what your energy, because wherever your vibration is, that's what you're bringing in. You're bringing in more of. So if you're in a lower vibration, if you put yourself in a lower vibration, try to make yourself laugh and come out of it as quickly as possible. But don't start clicking on that other stuff that's going to keep you there. Because your ego will be like, yeah, well, let's check in with the world. No. You don't need to do it. If you want to, do it. But it's not necessary for you. And again, all of this other stuff that, the ego might be telling you about, oh, in the past, this didn't happen or whatever. Most of that is true. It didn't happen then, but it doesn't. Everything's fine. It's absolutely fine. Just stay with the energy. It's all guaranteed. Once you really stay with your energy and you stay in that present moment and you really solidify knowing your power. Your power is in the moment, right? Your power is in the moment. Your power is in what timeline you're choosing and what energy you're vibrating at. That's it. And even if you have a moment of doubt where, oh my goodness, I've had a day where I've just been really hard on myself and I didn't think anything was going to work out. That's fine. Just shift it. Just transmute it and bring it up. The next day will be better. It's, nothing's set in stone. You can move all of this energy around. But this often happens. Yeah, you've got the Prince of Pentacles here and you've got new beginnings. Look at this. This is brand new beginnings. Tara, beautiful Tara here with oneness. Keeping yourself in the light right now, even if it feels for some of you that you're the only light that's around, right? Keeping yourself in that light, knowing that you protect your new beginnings, not in the way that you're beautiful. Again, nothing said against it. Your beautiful ego wants to protect you necessarily. That's got its own thing going on, and it's not really an agenda. Again, it's trying to keep you safe. But, protect yourself, put yourself in that little bubble as you really start creating and solidifying this new beginning and how it is that you work. And it's all about knowing that you have so much power. You're a princess, you're a magician, you've got this power, you've got the transmuting power, you've got the alchemist power, and whatever it is that you're choosing right now, whatever path that you're on, it's going to lead to gold, it's going to lead to success. If you're having any doubts whatsoever, that again, we've given you ways that you can work with that. But also this is just a way for you to work with your energy in general, because you are here for the first time. It is brand new for you, right? So it's staying in that present moment, solidifying that present moment, listening to your energy, really being cognizant of the energy that's in and around you. And don't, if you're feeling a little bit down, you can honor that and make sure that you're listening to a great, happy podcast, or whatever the energy is in around you is the vibration is much higher, right? Don't go for whatever it is that's around you that matches your vibration. It'll keep you in that vibration. So, and sometimes it might seem a little bit silly to say, ignore the world, right? And we're not telling you to do that. Please do whatever you feel like you need to do. But take into consideration that everybody has created their own reality, and then realities are coming together to create mass reality and this, that, and the other. Just because a lot of people believe something doesn't mean that it's absolutely true for you. And it doesn't mean that it's absolutely finitely true across the world. It doesn't mean that everybody needs to see it that way, right? There's nothing wrong with taking a stand and doing whatever you're doing, but as long as you know what you're doing and take your stand and stay with your own energy, that's it. You do not need to at all at this time connect with anybody else's energy, especially if it's not speaking to your truth. And that's fine. That's the beautiful. We're all in a free will zone here on earth. Yeah, there's consequences, there's karma, but we can do whatever and obviously say and do whatever we want. And that's kind of the beauty of it, right? Nobody wants to think the same way. I mean, nobody wants to be a zombie. But it's for you, as you solidify this within your bubble, solidify this new way of being, and really working on yourself, and also preserving this beautiful energy that you have that is vibrationally higher, it's really important that you're extra careful about your circumstances in and around you. So do whatever you need to do, right? And this is a very, very temporary thing. If you're going through this, this is a very, very temporary thing. Working with your ego is really going to help you to bring that beautiful ego in for tea. Invite it in for tea, have a little meditation. It's, integrated in a completely different way. It's going to help you in that way. But again, making this your daily practice, surrendering to your higher vibration and surrendering to that knowledge that whatever path that you're on now is of the highest value. And if it isn't quite there yet, you can shift it in any moment. Really coming back to the power of you and really understanding that you create your own reality, like really understanding it now and solidifying what that means. I know I create my own reality. So what am I doing in this moment? What energy am I putting out there? What am I standing for? Is whatever I'm not standing for, but whatever it is that I'm doing, am I admitting fear, or is there love behind it? Is it unity behind it? Is it this, that, and the other? I know it sounds a little bit hippy dippy, but that's the energy that's going to get you further out there, right? The receptive energy to bringing in the divine feminine. And this is all about, when we're talking about the crone energy too, this is all about honoring your wisdom. Everything that you've been through has brought you to this point. So the crone's energy is taking in that wisdom and weaving it into a basket, right? That you can hold anything in this really, really strong basket. Keep seeing that, weaving this basket so you can put anything that you want in there, even if it's heavy, and it's going to hold, it's going to be your container, and it's going to be a safe container to hold anything that you want. So you're weaving all of your energy, all of your wisdom, all of your experiences that you've been through right now, and you're solidifying it into this great understanding of your own power and how you're going to move forward. And even though you work for an energy of the collective, there's an individual aspect to who you are too. Again, you're not above or below anyone else, but there's an individualistic aspect to you. And that's what you're bringing in and honing in, and really sort of deliberating what energy and what it is that you really want in the world, and the kind of energy that you really want in your life, and realizing that you have the power to shift it and change it at any time. So for you, it's about this easy movement, like, sort of swimming, this easy movement, instead of like swimming upstream, which I feel like a lot of people are doing right now in a way, right? And that's up to them. That's something that you've done before, though. So this is like, just moving with the current. That doesn't mean that complacency or anything like that. It just means that you're moving with the energy that's going to take you there quicker, moving with the energy of unity, moving with the energy of light, and bringing that light to everything that you do. And also staying in that energy of complete light, because the other thing that's happening for you too is a lot of your empaths, so your sponges, so you're pulling in some of that collective energy too. And it might be working with your ego just a little bit, because the ego wants everything sorted now. It wants finite. This is right. This is wrong. This is right. And everything is neutral. We are giving meaning to right and wrong and good and bad. Society does that. We do it. Everybody's doing it right now, right? But everything actually is neutral. That doesn't mean that people can't do bad things, or there's not things that are going on that aren't so great. But really, at the end of the day, the universe doesn't differentiate between that. We do. They don't judge. They don't do that. Whatever it is, again, it's free will zone. So it's really about coming back to neutral and just seeing the bigger picture here, and then understanding that if you stand in the light and you stand for who it is that you are, then everything just sort of falls into place for you. So staying in that energy is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, like 100% for you. And just even talking about it and bringing you back into the light, you're just going to feel this really wonderful release. And everything that you're feeling a little bit nervous about or a little bit dark about, most of it isn't you. Some of it's from the collective coming in. Some of it's from the ego. And some of it's just a little bit of uncertainty. When you bring that all together, it can really pull you down, but none of it's actually touching you. None of it's actually, it might be around you, but none of it's actually in you. It's nothing that you need to do. And it's nothing that you need to sort out. either. It's nothing this idea that, again, that there's one way of doing things. It's just that you can do things any way that you want to. And there's not a definitive either. There's not just one way or one thing that is absolutely completely correct. There just isn't. So seeing things from the sort of the macro version, the higher version, and realizing that everything's going to fall into place the way that it needs to, and that there's just no one way, there's no definitives. And I think everybody's like a little bit worried about that right now. So there's people trying to get a lot of definitives out there. Like, if I believe in this, that I'm right, and then everything's good, right? And it's really scary to be in the world right now, especially with what we've been through in the last 2 years, to say that, there are a million infinite different possibilities. You can choose whatever you want. There's no right or wrong. Everything's going to be okay. People are frightened by that. But you're not. So stay in that energy, right? Stay in that energy, and everything will sort of deliver itself to you for what it is that you need at this time. So again, if you're feeling a little bit dark, it's all going to move out very, very soon. But yeah, don't go down the road of wondering if whatever it is that you're going through is, oh my goodness, am I going back to where I was before? Or will this not work out? No, absolutely not. Don't worry about it. It's just giving you some practical tips to kind of really hone in on your power in every moment, and be conscious of your power in every moment, because we are manifesting every single minute of every day. So what energy do you want around you, right? So this is what we have for you, Pile 1. Sending so much support for you for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. And of course, don't forget to check out the podcast with the links down below, Unicorn Light Podcast, for some extra wisdom and some extra beauty. And of course, if you have not subscribed, please do if you feel like you want to, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a reading. 3 a week until Christmas anyway, and then we'll see in 2022. But 3 a week, and of course, hit that bell, not the bell icon. You've already done that. Well done. The like button too. It really, really helps out the channel, and would absolutely appreciate it. Until we meet again, you crones, you beautiful pile 1s, take care. Bye-bye. Hello, beautiful pile 2s. It's your magic candle, a little bit off screen. So which goddess archetype has a message for you? If you chose the unicorn oracle and second pile, you are the mother archetype. So let's get right into your reading and see what energy is in and around you right now. So we're going to start off with a couple of these, of course, and bring in some more oracle cards. And of course we will bring in, we're working with the goddess tarot today. Let's see. So let's see what messages from the mother coming in for you right now. Okay. Beautiful. All right, so we'll start with your unicorn cards. You have Ascension Lift 39. Prepare for rapid spiritual growth. Be ready for opportunities. Gorgeous. Well, that's a gorgeous card. And then you have Open to Abundance. Believe you deserve. Accept plenty and prosperity. And you've got the number 8, which of course is the affinity symbol on its side. And then you have Focus on Success. Look at you. And then you have Spirit of the West. Absolutely wonderful. Look at that energy. And you've got Honor the Lineage. All right, so messages for you, pile 2. The mother energy of nurturing your dreams and putting yourself out there, which is definitely a theme that's been in the collective and in these readings recently. Really believing in who you are and moving forward, and trusting and having faith, but also, there are a lot of you, well, not necessarily a lot of you, but it depends who's going to feel this or not, but a lot of you may be trying to come at this in a way where, you start to be really, really open and accept help from your beautiful universe, guides, whatever, and then you feel really connected. And then as things start moving forward and you're getting really, really excited about this, This might be a cycle for you. And then you hit a little bit of a bump, or that sort of energy runs out of like the really excited sort of lifting energy. And then what you do is you sort of come into yourself, and then you sort of unconsciously, whether you realize it or not, kind of sort of unconsciously disconnect from the universe a little bit, and then you go into this really practical mode of, right, no, I'm going to get this done. No, that's fine. Once I do this, this will be fine. And you sort of come out of alignment a little bit, and then whatever it is that you're doing doesn't become as joyful. So focus on success. Focus on what it is that you're doing, because whatever you're on the path of doing is absolutely wonderful. And then focus on trusting that you have enough help. Now, you have incredible lineage help too. You've got a lot of ancestors coming in because you've done so much work. We want to remind you too, they want to remind you also, that they chose you in this lifetime to be able to move the energy of the lineage on further than they've ever been able to do before. You were the one that were chosen to be able to do this, right? So you have all the energy to be able to do this. You have everything that you need to be able to do this. So it's perfectly normal and human to have doubt, without a shadow of a doubt. And this you have in common with PA 1, just a little bit. But really, at the end of the day, it's really about your process. There is a part of you that, again, stays really open at the beginning, but then, when you sort of, then as you move forward, sort of the connection gets a little bit sort of narrower and narrower with the universe. And then you go back into your practical mindset. Nothing wrong with having a practical mindset as long as you're working in alignment. Now, a lot of you are working in alignment. So just staying open to the abundance and knowing that whatever it is that you're working on is going to be totally fine. But yeah, you're taking on, what happens is we want to remind you that everything that you're working on should be a joy. It's about the process. It's about the journey. And if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by everything, it's because you're taking on so much more of this energy than you need to. If you're in alignment, you work in alignment. You work smart, not hard, right? And also you're really opening up to the energies that are supporting you in and around you. So for some of you, it's about taking a rest, honestly. And when you do rest, we want to make sure that you're actually resting. You're not just resting and going, all right, well, I'm going to take 20 minutes and then I've got X, Y, and Z to do. It's not sort of resting, but your mind is at 15 million different places. This is if you honor your process, because we promise you that if you take that rest, then you're going to be able to do double the amount the next day. So it's about sort of moving yourself forward, but not getting overwhelmed by the journey part of it, and really staying in that alignment. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with having a practical mind. That's absolutely wonderful. And that's the part of the mind that brought you here, right? That brought you to the point that you are in the success mode that you are. And you are in a success mode. Just focus on the success, but maybe not focus necessarily on how you're going to get there. And when we say that, to be specific, obviously, you're going to have to take steps to do that. There's going to have to be aligned action in order to get there. But don't focus on every little thing that you put out there and move forward and wondering if that part of it is going to be a success. We want you to see your success as a totality, as something that happens with all these different parts coming together, all these little different pieces coming together, and then you can see everything, And then it all sort of makes sense in a way. As you launch certain things, or as you move certain things, trust that everything that you're launching in different directions are going to have different kinds of energy, and they're going to bring that energy higher and higher and higher. And it's just going to move and move and move higher, and sort of that kinetic energy of, collecting more energy as it moves forward. So maybe sort of slow down and don't hyper focus on all the small compartments, all the small little things coming together and providing that success for you. Again, when you imagine and you meditate on the success, imagine you as this is, you're having this life, you're successful, you've got it. Everything that you do is in the energy of success. So it doesn't have to prove it to you in that moment or a couple of weeks later how that's worked for you. We want to remind you that your guides are working for you absolutely on the sort of the other side of the curtain a little bit. So as you're putting your energy out there, as you stay focused in that power moment, as we were talking about in PA 1 with the Crone energy, if you stay in that moment, then you don't know how, whatever it is that you're putting out there, you have no idea who's going to come across it and what's going to happen from it. You couldn't possibly know. So trust in that energy, that everything that you put out there that represents your higher self is doing the best work it possibly can do, right? It doesn't have to check in every 2 minutes, and you don't have to check in with its progress. Let it go and sort of be out there in the world. Let it be what it's going to become. And if you need to take a rest, do that. So it's really important that you're aligned with your own energy and your own focus. So if your focus is out of alignment and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, then when you feel a little bit overwhelmed, you know, you do sort of the opposite. Instead of really focusing on resting, you sort of you kind of go the other way and try to do a little bit more so you can feel as though you're more on top of it, which again is a very human thing to do. But actually for you, it's counterproductive because, as we said, if you had that rest, you would be able to be much more focused and much more aligned the next day, and everything will seem a lot easier. But we want you to come back to this understanding, and it's a really, really important understanding, that the journey is really, really important. What you're doing is really important. It's not just about the end. That's not to say that you won't get that success. It's not to say that the success isn't there, but it's to say that it's everything that you do should come back to that joyfulness. So if you're in that point where you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed and it's not feeling as though everything that you're doing has that joyful moment, just pull back a little bit. That's just a little energy that's going on in the universe right now. But also at the same time, there's a lift in energy coming in for you too. There's a lift in sort of not really ascension necessarily, but a lift in the way in which you see things, which is completely different. And you're coming in and out of this, being able to like really understand the world, really understand what's going on, having this sort of macro version of everything, and being able to see things from multiple different points of view, which is absolutely an incredible way to see things, right? Being really flexible in the world. And also sort of being able to see sort of codes and how things are working and how things are sort of coming together in a way that not everybody is able to see right now. So this is an incredible time for you to stay open. So it is a time for you to be well rested as this comes in, because all of this is going to be coming into your, not just your personal life, but it's going to be activated in the way that you move out in the world, and also the way in which you are in the world, and whatever it is that you do in the world, it's going to be activated into that too. So there's this new understandings coming in. There's new codes being related to you. But in the past, you've had a lot of ups and downs with the ascensions. For some of you, they've been kind of intense. This is going to be more of a really sort of singular knowing, this like really beautiful feeling. It's not going to be so intense for you. It's going to be, because your vibration is shifted. So it's not so sort of shaking you at your core as the other ones have. But this information is coming in for you, and it is absolutely important. And again, it's going to be integrating into a new way for you to sort of move with your energy a little bit. And it's going to make things a lot easier for you. So some of you are already going through that. And feeling as though, and also that hopeful feeling, this incredible hopeful feeling, which is absolutely wonderful. People are really picking up on that right now too, which is great. So, and the hopeful feeling has to come from you. If you're expecting it to come from sort of the ether or some of the collective right now, it may not be quite as high as you expect. But yeah, if it's coming from you, the light's coming from you, that hope, keep that hope, really keep in that energy of what it is that you want to see in the world, and then actualize it in your own life. So this is very alchemical. So you've got this 10 of, so yeah, this is about you really, really understanding. Okay, so for some of you, you're having a little bit of this, feeling a little alienated from the world, and feeling as though, not necessarily down, but feeling as though, there's different ways of seeing this, as we elevate, and it's not even elevate, nobody's above anybody else or below anybody else. It's got nothing to do with that. But as our vibration does get higher, and we do move off into different directions, and we do get to see things a little see the actions and what's going on in the greater good, in the greater world, one way or another, it can feel a little bit more alienating. At some point, you feel as though, oh my goodness, this is kind of amazing because I get the whole blueprint now. I see where we're going. The chaos means something. The chaos is here for a reason. I can actually see it. It's almost like you have a blueprint over the chaos, and when you put it over, everything links and you can see it. It makes perfect sense, right? So with that knowledge is wonderful. And with that knowledge comes a little bit of beauty. But at the same time, realizing sort of that action that there's a part of you that's different to the collective, that's moving through the collective, that's not quite as connected in different ways, because what's happening is everything's crumbling. So systems are crumbling, and believe it or not, we all were together in some ways because of the programming, right? So once the programming really sort of comes out, and it's definitely leaking out, but once it actually starts really crumbling and we realize that it's no longer within us, which is what's happening to you, then there can be that cause of separation, because it really did keep us in society. And so for some of you who were not even really into being in society in one way or another, it was the only thing that was tethering, that was keeping you there. And now that's gone. You really are sort of on the outskirts of it, sort of looking in, going, whoops, what now? So that's just an element of what's going on. Now, the way to work with this, and not all of you are going through that part of it, but if you are, the way to work with this is quite easy. Stay to the light. Stay to the light. As you're moving through this new energy, there's new ascension codes coming in, and that's going to make you feel very connected with the sort of the new earth coming in and the new energy that's coming in, that's solidifying. It's coming in, but it's kind of all over the place. It's a little bit here, it's a little bit there. It's solidifying there, and then it moves to there because that's where it's needed, and then it moves to there. So it feels as though it's not here, or it's not enough sometimes, right? And then when it feels as though it's really solidified in one place, it doesn't feel like it's there anymore. That's because the energy's moved to where it needs to be. So there's clumps of this new world energy, right? New earth energy, not new world. New earth energy everywhere, and connecting to that is what is going to happen to you, and you're working within that, absolutely. So if you're in that sort of like really weird buffer stage where you see the blueprint of everything that's happening and it all absolutely makes sense, and honor everybody and how they feel and what they're doing, because that's completely up to them, right? Everybody has free will, and everybody really needs to be heard at this point. But at the same time, it doesn't feel for you, that's the energy for you, but it kept you connected, and now you're feeling on the outskirts, but you're not that connected to the new earth energy as yet. You have been, but it's kind of all over the place. It's just shifting. These new codes that are coming in for you, they're going to elevate you and really solidify you in the new earth kind of energy. Some people call it 5D, but then there's this confusion that you're going into 5D, into whatever. It's just bringing 5D into the 3D world, but yeah, into a different kind of way of seeing the world. So we're seeing a lot of the 3D waking up, and then a lot of people moving into the 4D, which is still moving through the 3D, bringing up all the stuff from the 3D, but actually being able to like work through it, like tangibly. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, we're doing that, and that whatever they're doing, they're working through it, right? So that's really important. So that's all the 4D energy, but this is the 5D energy. So being stuck in the middle sometimes can feel a little depleting. However, honor the lineage and everything that you've been through here. Yeah, and this is absolutely staying away from, and this came up in pile 1 with the Crone energy. You are the mother energy. So the nurturing energy of you really is used to being there for other people. And for some of you, you feel a little bit disconnected from the people who you would normally sort of try and look after. And bear with us, here's that a little bit. That's a good thing, actually, because for a lot of you, you were very nurturing to people who not necessarily took advantage, but really couldn't really appreciate where you were coming from and who you really were. And now that energy, you want to be nurturing, and we're going to ask you to be nurturing to yourself. And it's really important that the way in which you've treated people in this gorgeous way, that you're bringing back to yourself now. And that's really important for you. And for some of you, you're taking action, very specific action to be able to do that. But on a day-to-day day-to-day understanding of how you work, and also in the moment to moment that you have, we're asking you to really put your energy first. We're asking you to really nurture yourself and nurture your needs in the moment. You know, what do I need right now? How do I connect to my higher self right now? What is it I absolutely totally need? And, you know, and for some of you, there's this not need to be from the external anymore. It's kind of, you know, not needing to be validated, not needing to, yeah, and all of this sounds really exciting on paper, right? It is. It's freedom. It's wonderful. But again, it doesn't explain this sort of like, you know, this kind of feeling, because all of that connected you to the world. I connected you to the world. I mean, we were all connected by all sorts of different things, including programs, because we were all programmed by certain things. And once they start crumbling and we realize that we don't longer have that program anymore, then, you know, even if people are still working through their programs, and everybody is in every different level, and it's absolutely needed and it's wonderful, but you know, it's a new way of being. It's a new way of seeing. And sometimes when you're trying to connect to somebody, they're working on their own level of working through these programs. They're aware of them. And everybody's at a different stage of working through them. So, you know, before it was easier to connect to people. Now it isn't for you. But that's okay. That's absolutely wonderful, because you're in this sort of you're not in a rock and a hard place, not quite like that, but in the ascension process, you're in a sort of a strange part of the ascension process that not a lot of people really focus on, you know, where you've realized and you've moved out of it, and you're not just saying that you've moved out of it and then still doing the old stuff. You really have moved out of it, but you're not quite, you know, leveled 2 feet in the next one yet, but you've been severed from the old world. So concentrate on your own energy, and please concentrate on the beauty that you are. Focus on your success. Focus on everything that you want right now. This is really important for you to take any of your energy that you were trying to put outside of yourself, bring it back to yourself in this nurturing way. Bring it back to what it is that you need to do. Focus joy onto every single thing that you want to do and achieve on a smaller way. And please pay attention to your emotionality, because that's trying to tell you something too. Pay attention to your emotionality. It's very deep with you. Vulnerabilities might be coming up for some of you too. That's totally fine. As we say, you know, don't go down the rabbit hole. This is not like stuff that you need to work through. This isn't even really old stuff coming up. Some of the doubts that are coming in for some of you is it's just a matter of knowing that you deserve it, just connecting back into your higher self. So that's another thing that you can do here too. Always connect back into your higher self if you're feeling a little bit of that disconnect right now. Everything that you want is right there. It's absolutely right there. And the disconnect that you feel is absolutely real, and it's really valid. And nobody, as we said, nobody really talks about it, because we talk about, you know, understanding the programs within us and then this pure freedom. And then all of a sudden we're in 5D, right? Ta-da! Everything's rainbows and unicorns and beautiful, and you know, and all of that is true too. But there's a stage to getting there, and there's a stage to reaching there. And also it's uncomfortable sometimes when these things are removed from us. It's uncomfortable. That's what we've known, and that's the 3D world, and it really is crumbling. So honor the process of whatever process that you're in for this, by again bringing back your energy to the light. And there is new energy coming in for you. There are new ascension codes that are going to bring you into further, but as they're coming in, just make sure you listen to your emotionality. Stay out of harsh environments if you can, and really concentrate on, you know, for a lot of you, your creativity actually comes from your emotionality, from your vulnerability, from your beauty. You get your great strength from there. A lot of us can do, but a lot of us don't really, are not as clicked into our vulnerability as we could be. We don't gather the strength that we could, but a lot of people are learning how to do that now, which is really incredible. You know, society didn't set us up for that. So this is something that we've had to figure out on our own, really, right? But this is something that you've realized from a long time ago, but it's something that you're bringing in, really bringing in this beautiful, working with your emotionality and your vulnerability to create this gorgeous strength. And what it does, it really creates this understanding of who you are. And that's when you really connect to your higher self and you feel the best that you can. So that's coming back to that state of mind. and focusing on the fact that you deserve everything that you want. And it's really important that you have such strong guides, and you have this in common with the Crone energy with pile 1 2. Let people help you too. Your guides are there trying to support you, and really show you the power that you have with all of the emotionality that you have, and the way that you can transmute it too. But sometimes it's really important to stay where we are, not to be in victimhood, not to be in, wallowing in anything. But sometimes it's really important to stay where we are in the emotionality, to really honor it. And that's something that you can do too, to really honor where you are, honor everything that you've been through, honor all of your experience, really allow and make, not necessarily make peace, you've already done that, but really make friends with your vulnerability. That's where your strength is. And that's where it's going to open you up to this incredible abundance of knowing that you deserve everything that you want. And also connecting to your higher self and saying to the universe, I want to feel a little bit more support. Once you get back in there, and you connect right back into your higher self, and you really constantly make the movements to stay with your higher self, then you're going to feel the support of the universe in ways that you hadn't before. So this is a time for you to definitely move forward without a shadow of a doubt, but also to take stock of where you are. Rest if you need to. Bring your energy back into yourself and utilize it for yourself. You've been transmuting so much energy for the collective. It's now time for you to move that energy and start transmuting a little bit of that energy for you. So you can start trusting yourself and your desires a little bit more as you move forward, because the success is guaranteed. Everything that you want, you're ready. You've been working towards. It's just sometimes you have these moments of doubt. Again, that's sort of in the collective a little bit. We're sort of doubting where we are, and there's a little bit of, what's going on sort of thing. But that's okay. That doesn't need to worry you in any way, shape, or form. So stick with it. Stay with who you are, and obviously listen to your intuition at any time, but really stay open to that abundance, and know that that abundance is all around you at all times. It's not blocked from you at any time whatsoever. So if you feel blocked from it, just work with your higher self and work with the universe to bring you back connected to your higher self. I want to remind you that everywhere you look, there's light. Everywhere you look, there really is abundance. It doesn't come in and out. It's not a revolving door. It's always there, right? So it's just coming back to that energy and learning and training yourself to see abundance in every moment and everything that's going on, without a shadow of a doubt. And this is what you're on the verge of doing. And once you do this and integrate at this level, then you'll really be able to sort of move into this sort of not really a new plateau. It's not even really a new beginning, but you'll be able to keep your energy at the frequency that you want. It'll be much easier for you to do that and allocate your energy a little bit better, instead of going a little bit up and down, just a little bit up and down right now. But again, not a big deal. Your truth is there. Everything that you've done is right there. All of your efforts are really being put forward. So just stay in this energy of truth. Stay in this energy of who you are. Connect to your higher self, back into that moment. And again, remember, abundance is absolutely everywhere. And you are going to be absolutely open, without a shadow of a doubt, to these ascension energies coming in for you. That's going to not move you in a new direction necessarily, but it's going to be like a warm blanket, and just sort of make sense, and it's gonna make you feel really safe and beautiful. And you've got that anyway. You are safe and beautiful regardless. Keeping that energy of safety and beauty around you at all times. All right, my darlings, that's what we have for you. If you are interested in any way, do feel free to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Of course, hit that like button so you can come in and check in with us 3 times a week. And if you didn't hear, the new podcast is down below Spotify and iTunes, the Unicorn Light podcast, for more sort of energy about making your life magical, practical, beautiful tips. Really try to bring in tips that aren't necessarily all over YouTube, so not repeating ourselves, because there's so many other great people doing this stuff too, trying to bring you some more information. So that's all down below if you're interested in checking it out. Just more ways to get you some more support and beauty as we move forward in this glorious world. So sending you so much support and love for exactly who you are and where you are in the world. Until we meet again, all you mothers out there, Take care. All you pile threes out there, if you chose the Earth Oracle, then this is your reading. And again, we are doing which goddess archetype are you, and you are the Maiden. So we've got your beautiful magic candle here too. Let's get right into your reading. We will start off with some oracle cards and move on to some tarot. Okay. And we're going to get you some more oracle. So there's definitely been some messages that are sort of the red thread through pile 1 and pile 2, although different energies. So we will see what comes up for our maiden, our maidenites. So let's start with your oracle in the middle. What do we have here? You've got rise, beautiful, love that. And transform with raven, that's it, gorgeous. Your personal unicorn, number 1, bathe in pure light, stay open to unicorn magic. Absolutely. Speak up. Gorgeousness and consult your body's wisdom. Ah, love this. All right, so wonderful energy, maiden. So some of you are making a decision, and this may not be for all of you, but some of you are making a decision, and it's all coming down to the trust of what you feel like you need to do. It doesn't feel like in any way, shape, or form that you're going to make the wrong decision. In fact, I don't think there's a way to make a wrong decision as long as you listen to your heart. And even if you make the wrong decision, you'll still be fine. But you're a sovereign being. You are okay. But for some of you, this is a decision that's important, and it's a decision that's been looming. This is a decision that you've been thinking about, and it's all to move you forward in some way. So, and even if you're not thinking about making a decision, there is this energy where you're ready to commit. You're ready to take something a little bit further. But the commitment level that you're willing to give is not small. It really isn't. Even if it's at an energetic level, rather than, all right, I'm going to buy this house, which is obviously a commitment. No matter what the commitment is, whether it's energetic, whether it's physical, whatever, it seems like a lot for you. You're ready to do this, but you also know that you're ready for this. And if you don't do it, then all this energy that you have, for some of you, feel as though it's for nothing. Of course, that's not quite the way it is, but the way in which you feel is really important. So it's the time for you to step into this. It's not a new version of you, but it's the time for you to bring in all sort of fractions of self, bring them in together, and they're working sort of in a new way. So this is not about, we say this all the time on the channel, going down the rabbit hole of, more healing that needs to be done. We can get into the cycle of always feeling as though there's new stuff to do and new stuff to uncover about ourselves. And of course, we'll always be discovering new stuff about ourselves, especially you. You'll always be out there changing and shifting and things coming to light. That's fine. But this is the point where you're ready to sort of be out there, sort of in a new way. But it is in a new way because there's aspects of your personality that are being integrated that are ready to be heard. And they haven't always been heard by you. So it's feeling exciting, but it's also a little bit daunting for you because these parts of yourself have, it's strange to talk about it, not strange to talk about it, it's strange to describe because they've been hidden in a way, but they've always been in sight. So they've not been dumbed down, they've not been repressed, they've always been there, sort of on the verge of. So it's nothing that needs to be integrated, but these are aspects of you that are ready to be like full-fledged out there. So this is all about trusting in yourself and coming right back into your body. And I talk about this again, and I'm going to keep doing it on the podcast too. And one of those, one of the episodes, we talk about coming back into your body, which is really important. So honoring all aspects of yourself, the inner, the outer, but also honoring that part of yourself that is now coming into fruition. And again, it wasn't really hidden. It was on the, and sometimes it came out in opportune moments, certain parts of this person, certain parts of your personality came out and like, oops, or sometimes at the wrong time or seemingly at the wrong time, but never really is the wrong time. But this is a way for you to integrate fully all of these personal parts of yourself. And this is very exciting because you're building momentum for this new way of being, or this decision that you're making, or this way that you are going to be in the world. And once you've sort of made that decision and you're waiting for the time to kind of actually say it, right? And it's all about you and how you do it. But once you've decided on it, you know that you're not going to be able to go back. You're not going to, you click into it because everything's been coming to this moment. So once you've clicked into it, you're not going to go back. You're not going to want to go back either, but you're not going to want to go, but you're not going to go back. So no matter where you are and whatever this is for you, it's a big moment. Now, it's also for some of you, or for most of you, this might be an internal moment. So it doesn't seem that huge to other people. And at the same time, it's not worth necessarily talking about outside of yourself, because again, none of this was repressed. None of these fractions were really repressed. They were right there. This is just, if you talk to somebody about it, they'd be like, yeah, so what? Yeah, do that. Da, 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 da. They wouldn't see how big it is for you. But this is about you culminating in this beautiful essence of who you are and feeling safe in who you are. So this is huge. This level of transformation. You've done so many different levels of transformation. A lot of you are sort of chameleons in a way too, and you know how to work in the world when you're not completely transformed yet, but you still have to exist in the world. So you know how to be a chameleon. You know how to work in different circumstances. You know how to, charm people. You know how to get what you want. You know how to work the system. You know how to work everything, but you've never really worked the system while being 100% you. Right? Now you're going to be working the world 100% you. And it's both exciting, a little bit terrifying, but the terror is mainly sort of shifted. It's really exciting, but it's also brand new. And there's levels of this existence that are important. And one of them is your physical body, of coming back into looking after your physical body, really paying attention to being in your body, and that it also is inhabiting your body in a completely different way. Because when there's fractions of you that aren't completely sort of integrated in that way, then you're operating at a certain level, right? And everybody's like this. So nobody noticed that you were just operating at this level, because everybody's operating at a certain level. Very few of us are really completely in our own bodies, right? So, and this is from society, this is from trauma, this is from, collective trauma, individual trauma, past life trauma, ancestor, everything. We carry all of it in our blood and our DNA. So this is like this rising up from the phoenix of the ashes. That doesn't really quite describe it though, because this is sort of a more gentle version of what's going on. But at the same time, it's sort of huge and it's sort of rattling you. Again, not necessarily in a bad way, not in a way that, oh my God, everything's falling apart. It's not a tower moment. It's sort of a strange moment because it should be bigger than what it is. And again, you can't really describe it to other people because it's not going to really make sense, because not everybody's in their own body. And it seems a little underwhelming, but it's not underwhelming. It's actually huge. So it's a complete celebration. You've got the sun in reverse, and you've got movement here with your personal unicorn. So it does feel as though for some of you that you're going through sort of this on your own, but at the same time, it's not that you can't really speak to other people. If you did say something, other people in and around you would understand, but it's not gonna. It's also a part of you that it's not that they wouldn't understand. They would understand, but they wouldn't get the deepness of it really. So there's no point in doing that necessarily. But if you want to, that would be grand too. It's not like there's no support. But it's like the part of you that wants the support is the part you want the support for yourself. It's not this is a private sort of moment for you. You don't really want to bring in anybody else. And as you're going through it, it's sort of a catalyst stage. You're going through the sort of, and again, we can't describe it as a dark night of the soul. It's really not. It's not a tarot moment, but it's sort of a catalyst moment. But there's also movement on the other side of it. There's also light and beauty. There's also excitement. There's also this innate knowing that you have not been here before. There's also this excitement that everything's falling away in a way that finally doesn't frighten you anymore, and in a way that you can actually honestly see how everything is working. and how everything has worked, not just in the collective, but how it individually has influenced you and how it's held you back in some ways, right? And how that's never going to happen again. And also there's some upgrades in the physical body, as well as coming into and grounding into your body in a new way. There's actually physical upgrades in the body. So there might be a little bit, and of course we're not diagnosing anything, do what you've got to do, but there might be some shifts in cycles and digestion, and there might be some other things, not exactly upset per se, but again, these shifts, it's really difficult to explain because it's so big. The shift is so big, and yet it's so completely understated. The shift that's happening, the physical shift in the body too. It's so, it's so okay. Everything's fine, but yet something's still there. It's sort of strange to explain. Yeah, you've got the Ace of Staves here, moving into this energy coming in, and you've got the Ten of Pentacles. Absolutely, it's a completion of sorts, and it's an understanding of this really deep level of how everything affected you. And this is not to say that you're not taking any responsibility, because part of this movement is taking complete responsibility, but you're also seeing that a lot of where you came from and a lot of what you saw and a lot of what you felt about yourself had nothing to do with you. It affected you, but it wasn't really you. And it was all sort of external, outside of yourself. You're really understanding how things were working, the mechanics of things, and how a lot of the stuff that you thought that you could have controlled, and maybe you messed up here and there, you didn't. You really didn't. It played out the way that it really needed to. And there was nothing that you could have done, because the energy that you were around and entrenched within. So coming out of that energy and being able to see it is like, it's sort of like, seeing things with a new pair of glasses. You weren't able to see very clearly before, and now you can. So you realize a lot of things that you were blaming yourself, or not necessarily blaming yourself, but being quite hard on yourself, were actually not your fault. You couldn't have done anything about them. Like, you actually intrinsically know this in your heart, in your soul, in every cell of your body. And it shifted things. It's absolutely shifted things. It's given you the space to really be able to see how these systems work in society, how we've been governed, how this has been happening. And on an individual level, you can say, yeah, religion, for an example, religion didn't really work for me. I can see what it did for me and how it affected my life. But you didn't really actually get to see what it really did. And there was a part of it that you felt as though you still could have worked through, and there's things that you could have done in the past. So some of those regrets that you have, you realize that you had no control over in any way, shape, or form. And again, it's not about not taking responsibility. Oh, I did my best, whatever, but I don't need to do this, that, and the other. It's nothing like that. But you're starting to see how entrenched everything is. It's kind of difficult to explain in a way. And I hope you're getting it. But also it's this understanding that, the light that we give ourselves is really, really important. And you realize that once you're free from some of these external sort of influences, that you can bring that light in for yourself. That light no longer needs to shine from the outside. And this is something that's also really huge, but at the same time is the way it's being integrated into your psyche is it's something that you already know. And it's almost like you want the sweet 16 party or a da-da moment, but there's no point in having one at the same time. For some of you, there's just this old stuff just sort of moving through you. So that, there's a weeping moments or whatever, but you're not necessarily sad. It's just a way for your body to acknowledge that old stuff and just leave it, You're not really attached to it, all of these energies and feelings in any way. They're just coming up for you to just let them go. But again, it's not even a process. It's just something for you to move through. And there's energy coming in for you too. There's a considerable amount of energy where you realize that a lot of things were not your fault at all. You really did do your best. Now, you've told yourself a lot of times, you did your best. But there was a part of you that always believes that you could have done more, you could have done better, you could have done this. You realizing this, that you couldn't have. is absolutely freeing in that way. And it also gives you the strength to build this really sort of incredible foundation and be really present in your own body and be really present for who you are, and make no bones about it. So, and this is something that stepping into this energy the way that you are is going to bring you a greater amount of success. It's going to show people who you really are. You've always been popular in that way, and people might love or hate you or one way or another, because you have intense energy. You've got very powerful energy, so a lot of people could be intimidated by you. But really, at the end of the day, the people who love you totally love you. And you have that energy in and around you. But it's really important as you step in to the sort of way that you're really possessing your body now. And it seems strange that we would say it this way, but when you're on the outside of it, it does feel as though it's some of it feels like a second skin, some of it doesn't. And you're sort of possessing your own body and coming in and really rooting your energy into your own body. And then you just feel as though you can do anything. And then speaking the way in which you've always wanted to talk, the way in which you've always wanted to articulate yourself and express yourself at any one given time. And you've had moments of that too, but really working in that energy, and it's an incredible amount of courage coming in, is going to bring in a lot more people around your energy without a shadow of a doubt. So this transformation that you have, again, is on a really interesting level that, again, is really hard to sort of articulate. But if you're still here with us in this reading, then you probably get it. So this is, let's get a couple. Yeah, you're coming into your own. It's also coming into your own versions of pleasure too, because you have the Maiden energy coming in. So you've got the Princess of Cups too. So the way in which you sort of express yourself too is sort of, the sort of fun-loving, moving through you energy, which is really, integrating the inner child. It's absolutely wonderful. And also at the same time, sort of grabbing a piece of the pie for yourself, like not being afraid to go for things, not being afraid to say things, not being afraid to like express yourself in that way, because you can pick up on so many people's energy. That, you fear as though, that's, this is not the right time to say things. But now you're like, this is the right time to say it, because this is my life and I'm going to say it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. The way in which you articulate yourself is really brilliant and beautiful. Maybe it's too brilliant and too beautiful, which is why you've dumbed yourself down a little bit. But this is like you stepping into this whole new version of power, but doing it with this sort of giggly kind of aspect of the Maiden energy too, where you're just kind of starting out in this way of putting yourself out there, but at the same time you're also articulating yourself from an immense amount of wisdom, but it's just the energy behind it is intoxicating. So I'm not surprised that you guys ended up with the Maiden here with that energy too, because there is this sort of beginning, regardless of where you are in the stage of your life, there is this sort of energy of, this is just the beginning of what I could achieve. This is turned a corner, and this is just the beginning of what it is that I'm doing. I feel as though this is sort of a rebirth in a way of who you are and how you hold yourself in the world and what you say when you're there. So this is absolutely gorgeous. I want to pull one more unicorn card for you. So you have a lot of guides that are in and around you, and a lot of ancestors. I feel like a lot of ancestor energy is around the collective right now, because we're working through so many things from the collective. And of course, they had something to do with that energy at some point too, as we move through it. So you've got the Pool of Christ Light, 28, open your heart, spread unconditional love. Yeah, this is all for you to be exactly who you are. And of course, for others to be exactly who they are too, just allowing everybody to be who they are, which you pretty much do already. But this is really you allowing yourself to be in that unconditional love and unconditional light at all times, because you can be really hard on yourself. For some of you, it's like, coming away from a situation going, I can't believe I just said that, or whatever, there was always this kind of second guessing, an element to you at some point. But this is just sort of opening up and just being exactly who you are. And again, a new movement into how you react to your own body, the sensualness, really getting to know your own body again. It sounds a bit weird, or does it? But really understanding how you are in your body. So this is a new level of sort of sensuality for a lot of you. This is a new level of how you even move. So even though this is a sort of a shift on the internal, it's sort of provided for you because you're grounding into your body. So it's a physical and a mental shift that you have too, that's bringing in this energy of ancient wisdom, the way in which you want to step into your energy, but also holding that light and having that beautiful sort of maiden energy of this is just the beginning and we don't even know where it's going to go. So enjoy the energy of the journey and stay in that beautiful energy of just allowing everything to sort of fall away. And again, it doesn't have to be the dark night of the soul. It's not that. It's not even a tarot moment. None of this is dramatic. It's moving through you. You're honoring it, and it's absolutely beautiful. But it's just a matter of you staying the course and trusting your inner light and staying with that inner light and really developing that beautiful essence, that beautiful relationship with your body, with your foundation, with who you are. And but really staying with that energy of unconditional love without a shadow of a doubt, and making sure that all that unconditional love shines back onto you. So that's what we have for you, Pile 3, all you beautiful maidens out there, sending you so much support and love for exactly where you are and who you are. And of course, if you have not subscribed already, we would love to have you, and hit that bell icon so you never miss a video. We do these 3 times a week, and of course hit that like button. And again, we do have the Unicorn Light podcast. Links are down below if you want a little extra energy and beauty and support. We have an introduction and 3 episodes up. The 4th one will be going up later this week, or at the very latest early next week, so get in on that. All right, my darlings, until we meet again, take care, all you maidens, Pile 3 out there. Bye bye.